There is nothing that I can say that has not been said about The Last of Us Part 2. From people insisting that it is the biggest piece of dog turd they had the displeasure of playing, to people treating it as if it was the second coming of Christ. I mean, it really is not an exaggeration, nor a false dichotomy. The world has descended into chaos. Both sides of the spectrum coming together saying who could make more noise. This has become symbolic not merely to the state of gaming but to the state of the world as a whole. It has become rife with echo chambers and think tanks, people who see no need for debates, presupposing that any form of dialogue is going to be conducted in bad faith. I do not blame these people. Not everyone is a big galaxy brain centrist like myself. I just, to a certain degree at least, I do not fall into the categories of people who either suck on Druckmann's circumcised cock on any given occasion, nor those who would have preferred to see his forefathers burn in Auschwitz. From the very beginning, this was my take on The Last of Us 2. The combat is second to none, the pacing is atrocious, and the story is written by a teenage writer, not a good one, looking for attention, not unlike, say, Hatred or Postal. It follows the old adage that goes, if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. I thought I should wait for the storm to calm so that I could write and edit this video and present it to a level-headed crowd. This is why I am 4 fucking years late to the party. The funny thing is, people still have the same violent reaction they initially got when hearing the title of the game.
When I say the name,
The Last of Us 2. But this is also proof of something bigger than all of us. This proves the existence of an economy whose currency we all dispense daily, and that is the hate economy. Its currency consisting of our time and attention. This is something that Neil Druckmann had excelled at from the very beginning of his time at the helm of Naughty Dog. The way he generates clicks and attention is the same way Andrew Tate or Haley Welch would generate it.
And huck to and spit on that name.
Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the fucking money, shithead?
It's down there somewhere. Let me.
And huck to it.
Through nothing more than arousing a violent passion in the hearts of useless idiots on the other side of the screen. In other words, the fact that this game is still making rounds and discussing narrative in video games does not make it a good game, just as much as Andrew Tate being discussed while dispensing hate and misogyny does not make him a good man.
respect the cock. And tame the cunt.
I do not even feel late to the party making this video. That's how timeless The Last of Us 2 is. Not timeless in the manner the OG Deus Ex was timeless, where we got to see so many of its conspiracies unraveling in real time, or even appreciating how good old school Sims were. That would be the good kind of timeless, but The Last of Us falls into another subcategory of timelessness, where Superman 64 and Bubsy are the controversial kind. Not necessarily bad, especially not mechanically, but most certainly controversial. There is this thing in aesthetics, it's called the paradox of fiction. It is one of those riddles that proves to be as timeless as it is oxymoronic. Simple, yet complex. In short, its premises are as follows, and my source here is IEP. In order for us to be moved to whatever emotion by what we come to learn about various people and situations, we must believe that the people and situations in question really exist or existed. Premise 2, that such existence beliefs are lacking when we knowingly engage with fictional texts. And 3, fictional characters and situations do in fact seem capable of moving us at times. Premises 3 and 1 are at odds, you see. So I want you to keep this paradox in mind and try to solve it. I'll come back to it later and try to solve it together. For now, I gotta ask, is it so shocking that the staff who worked on The Last of Us Part 2 received so many death threats? After all, Paradox of Fiction claims that those who immerse themselves in fiction are so lost in playing make-believe, they become unable to separate, say, Neil Druckmann from Dr. Uckman? See, Dr. Uckman was knee-deep in postmodernism and cultural Marxism that he thought he could reset the norms a la Kathleen Kennedy.
Put a ticket in, make a name it gay!
This is a quote I got from Herbert Marcuse in his essay Repressive Tolerance. The danger of destructive tolerance, Baudelaire, of benevolent neutrality toward art has been recognized. The market, which absorbs equally well, although with often quite sudden fluctuations, art, anti-art, and non-art, all possible conflicting styles, schools, forms, provides a complacent receptacle, a friendly abyss in which the radical impact of art, the protest of art against the established reality, is swallowed up. However, censorship of art and literature is regressive under all circumstances. What does that mean? In other words, dear artist, put your outrageous, putrid piece of shit out there. If it got banned, you win, for it seems that society around you is stuck in its what you perceive as pathetic village idiot mentality. And if it gets published, pushback or not, it silently gets absorbed by the psyche of the masses. To people like Dr. Uckman, revolution is not for the sake of something, but revolution for the sake of revolution itself. This is usually the manner in which children play, and children have nothing to contribute to society other than the noise they make. Dr. Uckman insists that we are backwardly when we are far more sexually liberated than we were during even the sexual revolution. There is shit going on out there that could make Weimar Germany barf. But it's never enough to the postmodern mind. Man must fuck man, and woman must be equal to man, so equal she should dominate him at all times. Thankfully, the answer to Marcuse's dilemma was clear as presented by Barth in his famous essay Death of the Author, published in 1967, in which he says, classic criticism has never paid any attention to the reader. For it, the writer is the only person in literature. We are now beginning to let ourselves be fooled no longer by the arrogant anti-frastical recriminations of good society in favor of the very thing it sets aside, ignores, smothers, or destroys. We know that to give writing its future, it is necessary to overthrow the myth. The birth of the reader must be at the cost of the death of the author. In other words, the reader, or in this case the gamer, gamers rise up by the way, has autonomy. They shall no longer just lay down and take whatever the dictator storyteller has to say about things. The Marxist is always in for a rude awakening in a capitalist society. Sure, you could dictate your fiction in the reality you have constructed and impose it upon another, and banning it will get you free publicity, but I can and will vote with my wallet, which will make you objectively really broke. Barth was talking about the way a reader interprets a text, but when a text imposes something upon you as if it were God sent, when a text is critiqued by you and you are called a bigot for it, or even threatened by its community or admirers, this text is worthy of banning. Except, as we all saw, banning it garners more attention to it, so gamers saw the best course of action is to add it to the broke bank mountain pile. Fans are the backbone of a franchise, and they are not to be taken for granted. Fans are not obedient listeners. They are not brainwashed consumers. They have as much say in the future of a franchise as the creative people working on it. Shutting them down is not a solution. It is a symptom of a deeply rooted problem. It is not the developer who imposes their values on the gamer. It is the gamer who imposes their values on the developer. There is no dialogue where my money is involved, and it is us, not just me, who have the money. So let's go back to the paradox. For me, the answer to the paradox seems clear by simply pointing that the first premise is faulty. It is based upon a presupposition that seems unsubstantiated. Yes, it is absolutely possible for us to care for people and things that do not exist, for this premise is drawn upon an a priori supposition that the reality of the person in question is a prerequisite for us to care about them. Think of the countless times we have seen real people down, bleeding, licking their wounds, and pleading bystanders or whatever god they worship for mercy. How many times did you stop to help this person? How many times did you lose sleep over the fact that there is someone somewhere lying lifeless with a bullet in their head, rotting in an apartment in some shithole metropolis in a world too busy to care for them? A world that has no time to listen to them and their story. How many times did you sell the clothes off your back to help the people living below poverty line? Don't you think these people have stories to tell? You and me, dear viewer, we might as well be dead.
You know, you and me, we're more ghosts than people.
It is not our existence that makes us deserve the sympathy and attention of others. It is whatever sorry version of us they got in their heads about us that is more real than even our own selves. Empathy is merely our mirror neurons acting up, putting us in the shoe of this person. The question was never, is this person real or not? The question always was, is this character relatable? And God forbid people find this person and his creations at all relatable. The job of a writer is to make you believe the lie. That is the primary component for thespian excellence. When the writer baits and switches you with the characters and the themes, when the writer tweets something like, look, I get it. You love these fictional characters, but they're not real. You know that, right? Then proceeds to insult his fan base. This wannabe writer is committing two fallacies. One, those characters are real in the mind of the fans, or at least real in the meta sense, where they care about what happens to them. And I need my viewers to understand that if the depiction of people in fiction did not have a real life effect, Hollywood would not have put so much effort in depicting homosexual characters in a positive light, knowing that this would have a positive impact in real life. Which means the implicit message Druckmann was giving us here is out with the old straight white man and in with the homosexual youth. And two, fucking ad hom, you cunt. I am not mentally ill for caring about Joel in the same way that I am not mentally ill for caring about Frodo and Sam. Tweets like this are why the echo chamber I mentioned earlier exists. It just seems that one side does not want to listen. I wish I could find some of Uckman's more incriminating tweets where he looks like the bumbling buffoon that he is, but he had deleted so many of his previous comments and replies, I would have better luck finding names on the published Epstein list. In other words, this is the solution to the paradox. The existence of the person is not a necessary condition for it to arouse in me an emotional reaction, but rather the fictional person or the fictional character that arouses in me an emotional reaction becomes real in my mind.
I'm real. I'm a real boy!
I would like to call the solution the reverse Pinocchio, or the truth of P, if you will. This is why The Last of Us 2 failed, and this is why Neil Druckmann failed, and this is why he is hated, because he dropped a massive, stinking Deus Ex Machina crap on our heads, and when asked about it, he said, why did you guys kick out the Jews from 109 countries? Also, did you know that I'm Jewish? Did you know that Ellie's gay? Did you know that Abby's physique is completely realistic despite not being able to find a real actress who has the same boulder shoulders she had in the game?
What the hell are you talking about?
Druckmann was a legend in his own mind. He thought he was too big to fail, able to smash the guitar mid-performance and walk off the stage with his reputation untarnished. We know this is not going to happen. We know that just like Avowed and their man-child poster boy Matthew Henson, they will be out of business soon. This is just how brands work. They lose trust, they work so hard to establish, and then die. Anyone who has read Alchemy or Robert Cialdini's Influence would know how terrible the trajectory they are moving in is. Cross my heart, despite the scathing remarks and deconstruction of this bag of dicks, part of me wants to say that I don't want Naughty Dog to die. I just want them back. Druckmann or not, old staff or not, I just want my childhood back. It sounds weird shitting on a guy for so long and then saying you do not want the company which he leeched himself upon to die, but I wanted the joy to come back, the joy of gaming, okay, and Naughty Dog had a big part in that. I wanted to include that part, I wanted to write it, but fuck that part of me. That part is fucking retarded. While true that I no longer want to stare at my PS5 functioning as nothing more than a dust collector, I do not give a fuck if this is the guy who's gonna make their games. Though I have faith in the industry at large, especially when it comes to smaller studios, I think we are witnessing the death of consoles and their first party developers. I say good fucking riddance. Intergalactic is not a swan song, it is a death rattle, and it makes me so happy. And hey, at least Druckmann probably sleeps like a baby knowing that Kanye West loves The Last of Us Part 2.